Stay savage, it's your boy ShinoBeenTrill. What's poppin'? Today we are here with the first episode of Naruto Ninja Breakdown. Yes, Naruto Ninja Breakdown is a new series over here on the channel, so if you guys are excited, if you guys are hyped, make sure you hit that like button. The like goal is 500 likes. This is a all new, brand new series. Basically, what we're going to talk about the ins and out of each Naruto character. Now, you guys have been known to watch me for fact videos. You know, I do Naruto facts, Naruto trivia, giving you information about individual characters, almost as if it's secret information, like their favorite foods, their hobbies, stuff like that. But now we're going to talk about their powers, how strong they are, what they can possess, who they fought against, their chakra affinities. We're going to talk about them as a whole character. We're going to break down their ninja possibilities and how strong they truly are. So if you guys are excited, if you're hyped, if you're a hidden trap ninja, hit that like button. Today we're going to be talking about part 1 Naruto. Now eventually I will go into part 2 as well as epilogue Naruto, basically when he becomes Hokage, as far to road to Boruto basically. So I'm going to give you guys the lowdown, up, down, to go around on these characters. And with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode, the first episode. If you have any recommendations for characters you want to see on Naruto Ninja Breakdown, make sure you leave those in the comment section. Now with that being said, my name is ShinoBeenTrill. Let's get it.
Whipping all this dope up in the trap house. We fuck all you bitches at the trap house. I can't trust you, I can't give you real address. I can't trust you, I can't give you real address. And I'm in that bitch like Jerry Stacker. I might fall in love with my trap house.
Alright, so now we're going to talk about part 1 Naruto. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. This guy has really come a long way. Now, I understand a lot of people are going to talk about all the things Naruto can do now, but we're talking about part 1 Naruto. If you guys recall, basically when Naruto first came out around the early 2000s, when everybody's watching it on Toonami, before it ever made it to like a big anime website, before we had like Kiss Anime, Crunchyroll, we didn't have all these sites, we didn't have all these great, beautiful websites that we can watch anime on. Now, we had to wait till Toonami, we had to wait every Saturday, or whatever day Toonami was. It was been so fucking long, you had to wait till those days came, basically where you could sit down and watch your favorite anime show and get your daily dose or get a new episode. But watching Naruto grow up was probably one of the best things of my childhood. Now if you remember Naruto, he was like this boneheaded ninja that seeked attention because he was outcast by everybody in the village. Nobody really fucked with him, nobody wanted to be cool with him, so they had him shunned. They had him casted to the side. They were treating him like he was a monster because Naruto would pull pranks on people in order to get attention. Now if we watch Naruto and the way he grew and we watch the way he developed, he actually changed into this really powerful ninja, because I understand there's like a whole bunch of ninjutsus out there. I know a lot of people have more flashier ninjutsu than Naruto did at the time, but over time, you know, he developed that. So we're going to talk about the ninjutsus Naruto knew in the beginning. Now when you first met Naruto, Naruto couldn't even make a shadow clone. Like, this man couldn't make a shadow clone at all. If you guys remember, basically when he took his test with Iruka Sensei, he tried to create a shadow clone. The shadow clone basically flopped. It was just sitting there looking like some scribble knots. Honestly, it looked like the fucking Mihoy Minoy from SpongeBob. You know, he like Doodle Bob, you know what I'm saying? Looked like he came straight out of Chalk Zone. Like, honestly, my man Naruto really like progressed. He changed, and you saw development in his characters. Now, the sexy jutsu was the only ninjutsu Naruto mastered back when he was in Ninja Academy. Don't get me wrong, that's a pretty interesting jutsu to master. You know, it takes a lot of creativity to see a woman's body and like turn into it. Like, I don't think I could. Sexy jutsu! It didn't work. Like, this man really did that. He pulled it off, but Iruka Sensei thought it was more of him being playful. He wanted to see him be like a more serious-headed ninja in terms of his ninja studies. He didn't want to see him being this old goofy ass, you know, childish ninja, because that would get him killed. He didn't think that was appropriate for Naruto to take with him and basically become a ninja, because you can't use that on the battlefield. Now in the end, it did kind of play in hand to hand, but it was like reverse harem, so that's a different story. But now talking about Naruto and his Shuriken no Jutsu. If you guys don't know, Naruto is actually pretty skillful in Shuriken no Jutsu. Now we see Boruto in the future manga, and we see him learning Shuriken no Jutsu from Sasuke and stuff like that. You know, he's basically getting his swords and his ninja skills up in terms of his kunai and his weaponry, but Naruto's actually skilled in that too. If you guys remember, Naruto used to use that demon wind bomb. He would basically use a shadow clone and transform from the shadow clone into the windmill Shuriken and basically booby trap his enemies. Like, Naruto was very good at that back in the day. Now later on in the future, we didn't see too much of that being used by Naruto, but back when he first was developing his ninja arts and his ninja techniques, that was something that Naruto used with very proficient. He had precise accuracy. He always landed on the mark with that. but you know, it wasn't something that was broadcasted. It ain't nothing like, hey, oh, this is truly amazing, because most ninja, that's like the basic skills. You know, if you got some kunai, you better know how to throw them shits, because if you don't, somebody gonna throw them shits at you. Rinse, repeat, right? Now, something that I thought was really unique was that Naruto actually learned the Shadow Clone Jutsu by complete accident. You know, he was tricked into it. It wasn't necessarily him wanting to go ahead and ask the third Hokage could he see the scroll, or maybe even asking for personal training with Iruka Sensei. He actually was tricked in there by Mizuki. Mizuki told him, you know, there was a cheat code to it. There was some way that you could get it early. All you had to do was steal this scroll. And now the thing is, a lot of people know that this scroll is forbidden jutsu, right? If this scroll falls into the wrong hands, the Leaf Village is pretty much fucked. All their secret techniques are exposed. You know, Orochimaru get this. Like, a whole bunch of shit goes bad. Now, the thing with me is, Naruto must have been a sneaky ass ninja back in the day, because if you think about it, this is a forbidden scroll with multiple jutsus that can completely expose all of the Leaf Village. I'm talking about to neighboring villages. They can cause war, they can wreak havoc against them. And the thing is, why isn't this scroll heavily guarded? Like, Naruto went got it, but it was only moments after he got the scroll they realized it was gone. They realized that Naruto took it. Like, why is something like this not heavily guarded? Now, if it is heavily guarded, that means Naruto was hella sneaky. Like, his ninja skills, his lurking skills, his creeping skills were over 9,000. That's something I always thought to myself. It was like, yo, this little ass kid who can't even make a clone. Did he use sexy jutsu to make somebody like pass out and faint so he can steal this? Like, how the hell did he pull it off? Like, that shit always was in the back of my head, thinking to myself, like, I see you, Naruto. Something I did enjoy about Naruto a lot was Naruto had a lot of different teachers. A lot of different teachers offer him a lot of different things, you know, even in terms of them not actually teaching him, but them just giving little words, or somebody saying this is what that person uses. He learned something through that. Now, if you look at Iruka Sensei was teaching Naruto about morals, talking about actually being a serious ninja. You know, we seen Ibasa Sensei come through and try to teach Naruto some stuff. We even had Jiraiya, aka the Pervy Sage. Man, oh man, let's talk about this a little bit. I understand Jiraiya taught Naruto a lot of stuff. He taught him chakra control. He taught him how to walk on the water. You know, he even taught him the Rasengan. Jiraiya taught Naruto a bunch of things that probably was like super vital to what he is now, basically allowing him to do so many different things. He taught him how to summon different toads. This man actually paved a lot of different ways for Naruto. He even, you know, like loosened up the seal that was on Naruto's stomach. He told him about the 9 tails that was inside of him. Like, Naruto had an idea that he was completely different, but he was completely unaware of the 9 tails as chakra, and he probably was thinking to himself, like, how would I utilize this to the max potential? So, you know, the boy Jiraiya came out, he threw him a hand, and, you know, things started planning out for Naruto and the better. Like, honestly, I thought that was pretty cool to see Jiraiya come out of nowhere and help somebody. The one thing I did think was kind of sketch was Jiraiya asking Naruto to transform into a girl, and, you know, so he could get his daily make-out paradise fix. That, I understand he's training him, but that's kind of weird, you know what I'm saying? Like, we see Naruto develop so many different ways, and just seeing him come a long way as a ninja, even becoming Hokage later on in the future, is something that was really dope. You know, this man fought against Kiba. Like, this probably was one of the weirdest fights I ever seen in Naruto. Like, this man used his strategicness to beat Kiba. Now, a lot of people might say Naruto's a little dunderhead, because, you know, if you guys remember when he was getting ready to fight against Haku and Zabuza, and he basically was in the shadows, he could have snuck up on them, he could have threw kunai at them, he could have attacked them in the secret, but he screamed out, the number one knuckle-headed ninja, Naruto Uzumaki, is here. Then he threw his wind shuriken, and everybody was like, Naruto, what the fuck are you doing? The idea of being a ninja is being sneaky, but he was being loud and obnoxious. So that was something that, you know, a lot of people was just like, Naruto, are you serious? Now, that's not his strategic side, but if we talk about the fight with Kiba, he noticed that Kiba had a high sense of smell, like a dog. Obviously, Kiba imitates a dog. If you don't like it, then I don't know what to tell you. He's a furry. But Kiba was going around basically beating Naruto's ass. Naruto took advantage of his heightened sense of smell and farted in his face. Like, honestly, to me, that might be something I wouldn't think it worked, but Naruto knows that he eats ramen all day and his ass is completely like just garbage. So he farted in this man's face, and that allowed him to take advantage of Kiba's weaknesses and beat him. Like, that's something that's pretty weird. So if we look at Naruto back then and kind of now, he is a bit of an idiot, but he also has a good battle sense. You know, his taijutsu skills, they're pretty decent. They're not too amazing. He wasn't a Rock Lee, but he still was on par. If you look at the Uzumaki barrage techniques like that, those show some very high level of taijutsu. You know, he wasn't like the fastest ninja back then, but, you know, obviously he had enough to execute certain moves, he had enough to execute certain plans. And then watching all these different things that led up to Naruto versus Sasuke, like the tuning exams, the attack on the Leaf Village, him fighting against Gaara, we get to see him basically excel. We get to see him turn into a beautiful ninja from early on, him being completely garbage and not being able to form a shadow clone, to him making thousands of shadow clones, to him actually learning chakra control, him running on walls, walking on water, creating a Rasengan, and even almost tapping into the Nine Tails' power. Like, he tapped into it a little bit, but he only scratched the surface. Now later on in the series, we get to see him use the max potential of the Nine Tails chakra, obviously, but that's a later video. Now watching him fight against Sasuke was something that I found really enjoyable, because we got to see all these techniques that he learned throughout the series from a lot of different people and applied them to his current situation. Now we saw, you know, the shadow clone usage where he learned from Mizuki, basically, you know, when he cheated and he stole the scroll, he learned that. We saw the chakra control, which allowed him to summon a bunch of shadow clones, as well as walk on water, fight Sasuke on the walls of the great statues from the final valley. We got to see a lot of different things that played a role in, like, the story and him learning and using it all together. Now Naruto basically fought against Sasuke with Chidori versus Rasengan. We saw him learn Rasengan from Jiraiya. There's so many different ways we saw Naruto excel and basically come together as a ninja through the series and basically play big parts in the fights that he had. Everything that he learned played a part in all his boss battles to me. That shit was really immaculate. Now honestly, this is where I'm gonna wrap it up here. You know, let me know your personal thoughts and personal opinions, and let me know how you feel about Naruto's progression as a ninja. And if you guys like to see certain characters on the Naruto Ninja Breakdown, leave recommendations in the comment section below. I will be going through almost all of the Naruto characters, because this is a vast roster of characters we can do. So with that being said, my name is ShinoBeenTrill. I hope you guys enjoyed the first episode of Naruto Ninja Breakdown. If it was kind of rough in patches, you know, it's still a new series. I'm still working in the ins and outs. I got a little script here, but you know, I like to read things off the dome and kind of have just a topic. I don't really go into whole this is this is that. That's just not me. I like to be real with you guys and uncut when it comes to anime, because I want to be more of a discussion as well as informative. So with that being said, my name is ShinoBeenTrill. Stay true and stay real. I hope you guys have a blessed day, and you know what? Hit that like button, subscribe for daily content, cut that bell on to become notification gang. And until next time, see you guys later. Bye-zy!